Alright guys, so your boy's been grinding basically all day today. We've been absolutely smashing the Regulation D ladder, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a video basically talking about the three non-quote-unquote legendary Pokemon of the DLC or the Teal Mask, that being Dipplin, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, and our good friend Sinistcha, or whatever you call it, the regional variant of Sinistcha. Also, if you guys didn't see earlier today, your boy dropped a video talking about the other four, that being Ogerpon, Monkey Dory, Pheasantipity, and Okie Dokie, I think is the one I missed. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, obviously go check that out. I dropped it literally, a few hours ago. So yeah, go check that out. And guys, also if you could while you're here, hit that subscribe button. Obviously we're pumping out VGC content. And yeah, I'm glad everyone's here. It's a really exciting time of the VGC community. But yeah, let's jump into it. Alright guys, so the first one I'm going to talk about here is actually Dipplin. Dipplin's probably got the least stuff to talk about really with it. But it's still nonetheless a very, very interesting Pokemon. So its ability here, Super Sweet Syrup. Basically, for those who don't know, it lowers the evasion by 1 stage, which is really, really good for, a lot of combos that I got to see today. I saw a lot of people running it with things like Hypno Spam. Obviously, it's really good with, those like high base power moves that have maybe 90% accuracy. Things like Draco Meteor, Leaf Storms. It's also pretty good as well with things like Icy Wind, Snarl, like those things that miss just a little bit. And also like really good just with things like, for example, I saw it run with Double Genies as well. People were running it alongside like Tornadus and Thunderous, even like Landorus I think as well, just like spamming out their, new signature moves. So yeah, really good ability there for just making sure you basically your allies can, just always hit their moves, right? And then you look at the mon stats, right? So speed stat, pretty bad, but that's whatever. Bulky mons don't need their speed stat all the time. Its HP stat's pretty average, but on this one we want to max it out. And then its defense stat is actually really good at 110, and especially defense at 80 is, it's decent, right? It's normally decent. But there was actually something that was discovered today by, I believe, K-Fodix, Kurt, for those, who know him, I guess. He actually revealed today that a Violet actually works on this mon, so I guess a bit of a spoiler for, anyone who doesn't keep up with leaks or rumors, but it has been speculated for quite a bit that Diplin will actually be evolving in DLC 2, and basically with this, this announcement that, hey, a Violet works on this mon, yeah, everyone's kind of saying, obviously, it's going to evolve. If Violet works, and this mon's going to evolve with the DLC. So a Violet paired up with these, pretty good stats makes this mon incredibly hard to deal with. And on top of that too, this mon's like status moves actually aren't really that good. The only status move it really has that kind of wants to use is probably like Recover. Like the rest of them are just like kind of average. You look at this, doesn't really have much going for it. Like maybe you could say like Growth is good. But yeah, I think Recover's great, and that's about it. But then it also gets its signature move here, which is, Syrup Bomb. Basically, 60 power, 85% accuracy. But obviously, when you pair it up with its ability, that's almost never going to miss, unless, of course, the opponent switches out. But basically, if the opponent stays on the board, each turn it stays on the board after being hit with this, it loses one, one speed stage per turn for 3 turns. So you can basically, in 3 turns, you'll get a Pokemon to -3. Now, obviously, the answer is just switch out. But this mod actually has, a couple other things really kind of going for it, right? So, in terms of like moves I've seen on it, obviously Draco Meteor is a good one. Again, Draco Meteor paired up with Super Sweet Syrup basically means you're never going to miss the Draco. But one I've actually seen that I think is cool is Infestation. So, Infestation plus Syrup Bomb, you can just like absolutely cripple a Pokemon. Alright guys, sorry, I actually just had to cut that one there. I don't know exactly what I was saying, but basically Diplin with Syrup Bomb, Infestation, Draco Meteor, I think is a really, really cool set. Basically, Infestation traps him in, Draco Meteor and Syrup Bomb obviously can't miss as well with its ability, as long as obviously, the opponent hasn't switched out. But this one is incredibly bulky and just incredibly annoying. I wish it got things like Leech Seed, which I don't think it gets. Yeah, it doesn't get Leech Seed. But yeah, so it's honestly a really, really cool mod. A lot of cool combos you can do with it. And in saying that, it's just like incredibly bulky. Like I could see a world in where like you run something like this and you just start like spamming these moves. You run quite like bulky, like say something like that. With a Violet, it makes you insanely bulky. Then you just run a Terra or something that probably just like, Terra of Water seems good to me. But yeah, I think Diplin, there's not an awful lot to say about it. It's definitely the one I've done the least testing with, and it's the one I've seen the least. But I definitely think it has some cool niches that like once, some more creative players basically start playing around with it, I'm sure they'll, they'll be able to make something work with it. So the next one here we're going to look at is actually Sinistcha. I think that's how you pronounce it. As I kind of hinted at in the intro, guys, I'm not going to lie, this mon could actually be the best mon returning. Coming into the game. Now, I don't think its power level is going to be as high as obviously, some of the Legendary 3 and Ogerpon in particular. But this mod is actually really, really good. I did a lot of testing with it. I genuinely think this mod's really good. And that's funny because its ability doesn't even work on Showdown. So its ability is like when you switch in, it gives your ally 25% HP. That's not working on Showdown right now. From what I can tell, it works on yourself, which is funny. But I've actually had a lot of games where I'm like, damn, if this ability had like worked properly, I would have won the game. Like I had a game where my Ogre Pawn was like, it took like 51% to a move. I then swapped in my Sinistcha at the end of the turn, and I ended up dying to like that move, like obviously hitting the roll where I should never have died and I should have been able to pick up the KO. But yeah, Hospitality, as I said, it's not working, and I still think this mon's really freaking good. So yeah, Hospitality is cool. This mon's stats as well. It didn't copy Sinistcha's stats as well, which I think is like really, really important. But basically, in my testing with this mon, you have a look at it. Its attack stat's its worst stat. Doesn't matter. This mon doesn't use its attack stat. Its speed is pretty middling, but like 90 speed's like fine for a mon like this. Normally I was like just running max HP. And then I was basically like, the way I was doing it was like modest up to here and then just dumping in a speed F. At that point, the defenses are roughly the same. You're still putting out quite a bit of damage. And the reason that's good is because of its signature move, Matcha Steve. Oh god, where is it? Matcha, there it is. Matcha Gotcha, sorry, not Matcha Steve. So the way this move works, as you guys can see here, it is 80 base power, and it's 90% accurate. It has a 20% chance to burn the user, and it also recovers 50% of the damage dealt. To make things a bit more crazy, this is also a spread move that hits both opponents. So that is pretty freaking good. And again, you look at this, right? 121 base special attack. We didn't invest much in it, and it still hits hard. Like, if you want it, dude, you can get this thing up to like 190. Like, that's freaking insane for a spread stab move that like does that much damage, dude. Like, come on. Come on, dude. That's insane, dude. And then also, like, because it has a chance to burn, you run things like Hex, yeah? And then also, like, a cool thing with this mon is, I think the best defensive Terra for it is Terra Water. It also has Scald. So, like, you can fire off, like, Stab Scald with chances to burn. It has Hex. Obviously, like, Protect's really good on this thing. So, like, that's kind of how I was running, like, my more offensive Sinistchas today. I was running it a lot with, like, Citrus Berry, because I think Citrus Berry could be good. I also tested a bit of lefties. I tried some Rocky Helmet, because, again, like, this mon's, like, physical defense stat, by the way, pretty crazy. Also, not to mention, this hard walls Urshifu as well. Urshifu Rapid in particular. Obviously, it can't CC you because of your Ghost type, and it also, because it's a Grass type, it resists these Surging Strikes, and it has a really good defensive stat. So, yeah, this mon, hard walls Urshifu, pretty damn good. Yeah, offensive stat was offensive set was really good on this one. But this mod also, as a support, it's freaking insane. What does it get? Well, it gets Rage Powder, boys. It also gets Trick Room. Oh, shit, that's pretty freaking good if you ask me. Oh, what else does it get? Strength Sap. I even ran Strength Sap on some of my offensive teams where I was like, you know what? I don't think I need Protect. And you have a lot of times where, like, something like Iron Hand sits in front of you and you're like, you already can't touch me. I'm just going to Strength Sap you, go all the way back to full HP, and you can't do shit. Also, like, a kind of funny one thing, I'll throw this in here as well. We were playing with Energy Root, I think it is. Big Root, sorry, Big Root. So for those who don't know, Big Root, basically, it does, like, 1.3 times more healing. It works on Strength Sap and Matcha Gotcha. So we had some games where we were, like, running this thing, like, modest and just, like, healing all our HP back. It was actually pretty nutty. Yeah, dude, I'm actually, like, such a big believer in this mon. Like, again, Strength Sap's insane. Trick Room, like, running this thing with, like, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, which, by the way, we're going to touch on, like, pretty shortly, really good, because, like, what's Ursaluna lose to? It loses to water types. This thing swaps in pretty freely into water types. It also has, you know, Rage Powder to make sure, like, hey, if you can hit me super effective, I'm going to redirect it to me. So, I think this mon could be a really good Trick Room setter. I think it's a really cool offensive mon. But let's quickly, you know, let's just have a look at everything it has, right? Because obviously, I'm forgetting some things. I'm pretty excited just talking about this. Obviously, I touched on Hex. It also has Shadow Ball as well, which is pretty good. And that looks like it's really it. You're probably not going to run anything else on this one. Sadly, it literally only gets, like, its only coverage move Scald, actually, which is crazy outside of Terra Blast. Okay, so that's fine. I'm not actually missing anything there, which does make me feel a bit better about it. But if we have a look at the status moves, it gets Calm Mind. And the reason I think Calm Mind is interesting is, again, because, like, look at this physical defense stat, right? Like, if you were to, like, just invest, like, you know, maybe there's some calc you need to hit. You hit something like that. You hit like this. And then you go Calm Mind. And then all of a sudden you boost this. It's like, dude, this one's going to be impossible to remove. Like, I could see Calm Mind actually being sick on this one. Yeah, so that's another really cool one I like for it. And then you look at it, dude. It gets Life Dew as well. Iron Defense. I don't think Iron Defense is as good, but it's there. You could plot up, dude. Like, dude, this one, like, it's actually insane. Sub as well is, like, there. It's always an option. Dude, I actually, unironically think Sinistcha or Sinistcha, however you pronounce it, might, I don't want to say it might, look, it might be the best mon. I don't think it's going to be as good as, like, Ogre Pawn in particular. I'm also not sold on the Loyal 3 after doing some more testing today. Like, I was pretty excited about them earlier. Serendipity was really fun to use. I think Okie Dokie was, like, definitely the most consistent, and Monkey Dory to me was, like, a little weird. But Sinistcha, like, could definitely be, like, the second best bond coming into the format, behind Ogre Pawn. So that's pretty damn cool. But yeah, I'm really high on Sinistcha. I think this mon's freaking unreal, guys. So yeah, make sure you definitely try this mon out. And then finally, Ursaluna. Now, Ursaluna Blood Moon form is actually really, really interesting. So when you look at this mon, obviously, statistically speaking, I actually think it is worse than regular Ursaluna. So I'll actually quickly do a side-by-side comparison here of these two mons. So its HP stats lower, its attack stat being lower is fine. Its defensive stat is higher. Its special attack stat is obviously way higher. But then its special defense is worse and its speed is better. So my issue with this mon, right, is you look at it, you're like, hey, it's meant to be like a better version, right? It's got 5 more base stats, which isn't that much. It's just not min-maxed quite like Ursaluna is. Ursaluna is min-maxed almost perfectly because its special attack stat is just so bad. And then it's like, you know, its physical and HP stats are insane. Its special defense is passable. I think Ursaluna Blood Moon's biggest issue right now is its SPDEF stat is just a little too low. I think if it had the exact same treatment that regular Ursaluna had, where it was like no attack, decent SPDEF, and then like exact same speed. Even if you just made it 55 speed and then flipped them, right? So it was like 45 attack, 80 SPDEF, and then just call it a day there. I just matched the stats. I do think it actually could have been better than Ursaluna. But regardless, we're not here to talk about Ursaluna. We're here to talk about Bloodmoon Ursaluna, which definitely still has a place in the metagame. So first things first, Mind's Eye. This ability is really, really cool. I actually had a game earlier where the guy's Chen Power Terry ghosted in front of me, and I just bopped it with Bloodmoon, which was pretty damn funny. But yeah, this mon, Mind's Eye, for those who don't know, basically allows you to hit ghost types with fighting and normal moves. Really cool. Also, your accuracy cannot be lowered, and it ignores evasion. So that is also really good. Basically meaning if you got 100% move, there is no chance you will ever miss it. And this mon's basically, you know, best move here is Bloodmoon. It is basically special Gigaton Hammer. This is a nuke. If you get this thing off, especially with, you know, stats like this, again, if you go like Modest here, like this is a nuke. You're one-shotting a lot of things that are neutral on this thing, which is kind of crazy. It also gets Stab Earth Power, which is, again, like Stab Earth Power is insane, dude. Like anything that resists the Earth Power, by the way, is just getting one tap by the Blood Moon, which is really, really good. They're basically the two moves I think you always almost have to have on this mon, which is fine, right? I think they're like staples on the sets. Really, really good, right? So then we start looking at some of the other sets, right? So you got things like Throat Spray. Oh my god, man. Throat Spray. Throat Spray can be paired up with Hyper Voice, right? So you go something like Hyper Voice, and let's just say protect for, you know, general purpose. Basically, you have Throat Spray paired up with Hyper Voice. You can boost your special attack stat and absolutely just start wrecking through teams, right? You have a really good spread move here, which is like 90 base power. Insane attack stat, and then just really, really good defensive. So I do think this one's pretty cool. This one also has access to moves like Moonlight as well, which is really cool. I think I actually lost to a guy spamming Moonlight on me today. It was actually kind of crazy. It was so bulky, and he just like basically sat there just healing. So yeah, that is definitely another really, really cool set. In terms of special moves, there's one in particular I play around with, which was Moonblast. You can also run Snarl as well. So basically, a cool set I think that it's the one I probably tested the most was the AV set. And it's definitely something worth exploring, I think. And I ran it with Hyper Voice and Moonblast. And I actually played Terra Fairy. So the reason I went for Terra Fairy is Terra Fairy obviously overall it's just a great defensive typing. But when you're a mon that's weak to fighting types, Fairy's just fantastic. And Stab Moonblast is actually insane. Again, like this is basically hitting you as hard as a Fluttermane would with a Moonblast, as long as they're not like Terra Fairy. Yeah, so I think like AV in particular on this set really, really helps out with its weakness being its like, you know, bad special defensive stat. So obviously picking that up is really, really good. And then on top of that too, it just like this one just sponges hits, man. It sponges hits so well, man. And as I said, I think Snarl on this one as well is like pretty damn sick. But yeah, Ursaluna, like I had a lot of fun playing this mon, and I really think this mon paired up with Sinistcha, like also just like, yeah, like they do a lot of work, man. Like it's just, yeah, they're really, really good. I think it's a really good combo, and like Sinistcha getting up Trick Room for this one's pretty damn cool. Alright guys, and finally just to round it off, I'm just going to quickly show you guys some of the teams I was grinding with today. Now this isn't all the teams I was using today. This is basically just the teams I was using on my PC in particular. I was on my phone and whatnot when I was at work, but yeah, these are the teams that I was like just building on my PC. Basically I was trying to have fun building around the new mons. This is a team I threw together with the homies Ice and Luke. As you can see here, this is our Bloodmoon Ursaluna set. We ran a little bit of speed on this one because like basically the gist of this team was like Icy Wind was our speed control, but we also had a Trick Room mode to it as well. So you can see there's my spreads. Really, like I'm not going to go too much into it because again, this is like literally day one of the format. If you guys want to look, take a look. Ogre Pawn, by the way, Grass Ogre Pawn, this was sick. I don't think, like we spoke about at the end, I don't think I would run Scope Lens plus Focus Energy again. But Defiant was really, really good. And also this thing with like this spread, if you Terra Grass, you get the speed boost, you one-shot Fluttermanes. Like Fluttermane just does not live this, and no one freaking knew it. Everyone would lead their Fluttermanes into us. We would Terra in front of them, and we would one-shot them. Really freaking cool. But yeah, there's the rest of the team. This was obviously one of the Sinistcha spreads I was using. This one was really, really cool. This is like the supportive set, as you see, Rage Powder, Trick Room, Much Gacha, Strength Sap. It was basically there just to, you know, sponge some hits, get its health back, and set up Trick Room when we needed it, and then just standard Dark Shifu. What else do we have? Here's a rain team I played around with. I didn't really do too much with this team. By the way, Muddy Water off Politoed actually went crazy. This actually did so much damage in a lot of games. I was actually a really huge fan of it. Again, my spreads, don't look at my spreads and think they're like some crazy spreads. Literally threw most of my spreads together in 2 seconds. But yeah, if you're interested, there's the spreads. You can build the teams yourself. Golden Go, by the way, like never came on this team, but the other 5 mons were actually all pretty good in my testing. But yeah, I would say if anything, I'd swap gold. That would probably be it for that one. My screens team, this team was a hell of a lot of fun, and this would have worked a lot better if hospitality worked properly, boys. I'm telling you. This team was so freaking good. There was so many times where I was like getting it in and out, trying to heal up my Pheasantipity, and it just didn't work. But yeah, Pheasantipity with Toxic Chains here. Also, Showdown, it's broken, doesn't fucking work properly. I literally had a game where I clicked 6 Dazzling Gleams in a row, hitting both one every freaking time, and I never once got a poison. But then I have so many other times where I just Dazzling Gleam double poison. But this team was a lot of fun. Basically just a variation of an old screen teams I played back in the day. And hopefully when they fix the way hospitality works, this could be really cool, because I used to literally have like almost the exact same team with with Amoonguss in that slot. And yeah, hospitality was just like really freaking good with it. And then yeah, just around out the team here, just, you know, pretty standard power up. Went safety goggles just because I think, you know, it was helped us out with Amoonguss. And then yeah, just a normal Heatran. But yeah, I guess the rest of the team, is there anything else worth going over? Like maybe Majesty here. I'll just scroll through them. If you guys want to take them, I don't want to go too much into these teams. But yeah, I guess if you want teams to try out, try these. You know, have fun, go for your life. Is that it? Yeah, we'll look at the Picky Poison here. This was a cool team as well. Polygon, I think, with competitive has a lot of potential. But yeah, guys, anyway, that's basically it. You can check out Big Stall as well if you want. This was a bad team. Don't try this. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. Yeah, that'll be it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.